Welcome back. I know you're refreshed and just raring to go. I know I am. All right. What is the concept of simple interest? Interest is computed each period on the initial beginning principal. What is principal? It is the amount that you borrow or the amount that you owe. Okay? So let's look at an example of this. You only compute interest based on the initial beginning principal. You have a lump sum of $4,500. That's your principal. $4,500 is your principal. You will earn 8% annually, okay, for 7 years. So, 4,500 times 0.08, let's clear the calculator out, 4,500 times 0.08 equals $360 a year. That's your annual interest. So, if you take 4,500 times 0.08 times, what did we say, 7 years? Times 7 years, you will get $7,020. That's your simple interest in total. That's your ending amount. That's $360 a year times 7 years plus the 4,500. Okay? So you're actually doing this first, and then, and I'm sorry, it's not 40, yeah. Whoops. Let me get this right. 4,500 times, yeah, 0.08 times 7, and it's 4,500 plus this amount. Your beginning balance times your interest, which is 4,500 times 0.08, which is 360. So 360 times 7 plus your beginning balance equals your ending balance. All right. What is the concept of compounding? Really important. Compounding involves adding interest earned each period. So the 360 that you earn in the first year is added to your beginning principal. And your new principal is 4,500 plus 360, what's that, 4,860. Then you're going to earn 8% on that, okay? And it's going to be higher than 360. So 4,860 times 0.08 is 388.80. 388.80. That's your interest. This is your interest in the first year using compounding. This is your interest in the second year. Well, what's the difference? So the difference is another $28.80 in interest in the second year. Okay? So what is that? So let's take 360 times 0.08. The amount of interest you earned in the first year times your 8% interest, so 360 times 0.08, and you get $28.80. So the additional $28.80 that you earn in interest in the second year is the 8% you earn on the interest that you earned on the first year. Because the interest in compounding is added to your principal, and your new principal is this. Your principal in the third year is this plus this. Okay? So it keeps growing. It's called geometric or exponential growth. All right. So you're earning interest on your interest. Compounding results in a larger amount earned for an investor and a larger amount paid by the user of capital. All right, answer question 2, only use compound interest. So we have 4,500 times 1.08 raised to the 7th. And we get 7712.21. And using simple interest, the answer was 7020 even So using compounding, we earn an extra 2, and 11 minus 2 is 9, and 7 is 6, an extra $692 in interest using compounding. This was simple, and this is compound. Yeah, this is simple, and this is compound. Okay? Interest on our interest added $692. Now, let's solve this problem using the financial keys. So we have 4,500 plus minus is our present value. 8 is our IY. 7 is our N. Compute future value. And we get 7712.21. Okay? All right. Moving on. If you use compounding, what will be the difference between the amount earned by an investor or the amount paid by the user using compounding versus simple? The amount is larger using compounding because you earn interest on your interest. All right. What are the two impacts of compounding as your time frame extends? What does that mean, time frame extends? It means that your money will be invested for a longer period of time. The longer the time frame, the higher the amount of interest earned over the entire period of time. So you'll earn more interest over 10 years than you would over 8 years. And the higher amount of interest will be earned over each interim period. So you get a double whammy. You get more time invested, and you get a higher earnings each period. Okay, that's a concept question. You think you can grow the number of employees at your company by 10% per year, so we can use compounding for something other than dollars. There are currently 40 employees at your company. How many employees will you have in 10 years? Present value, 40, times 1.1 raised to the 10th, and you get 104 employees. Okay. You currently have 5 restaurants. You'd like to grow the number of stores by 8% per year. How many stores will you have in 7 years? Present value times 1.08 raised to the 7th, and you're going to have 8.56 stores. So you're halfway through building your 9th store. Okay, concept questions. If interest rates go up, what will happen to the ending amount if you start with a specified beginning amount? Okay, so let's say you start with $1,000 and you're going to invest it for 10 years. The question is, let's say the interest rate is 8%, you get one answer, and all of a sudden your interest rate goes to 9%. What will happen here? It will go up. You can earn more interest, a higher rate, and your ending amount will be higher. Okay? If interest rates go down, what will happen to the ending amount? So now, instead of earning 8%, you're going to earn 7%. What happens to the ending amount? It will be lower. It will go down. Okay? If interest rates go up, what can happen to the beginning amount if you have a target ending amount and the time frame of the investment stays the same? So let's say that you want to have $1,000 in 10 years. Okay? Let's say that you can earn 8%. Okay? You have to begin with a certain amount. Okay? Now let's say you can earn 9%. You can put in a smaller amount, and you will end up with $1,000 in 10 years because you're going to earn a higher rate of interest. If your interest goes to 7%, guess what? You're going to have to put in a larger amount than you thought you were going to have to under the 8% to have $1,000 in 10 years because you will earn less interest. All right. All right, so we did that one. That's question 12. 13. What happens to the ending amount if you have a longer investment time frame? Okay, so let's say you start with a beginning amount of $1,000 and it was going to be in at 8%. Well, if it was going to be invested for 10 years, you'd have a certain amount of money. And if it was going to be invested for 12 years, you'd have more money. If it was going to be invested for 8 years instead of 10 years, you would have less money. Okay? The longer your money is invested, the higher the ending amount will be. The shorter the time frame, the lower the ending amount will be. Okay? All right, what happens to the beginning amount if you have a shorter investment time frame and a targeted ending amount? Okay? So your target ending amount is $1,000 earning 8%. Let's say your targeted ending amount is $1,000, the ending amount. Okay? If it's going to be in for 10 years, then you're going to have a certain amount invested. If it's going to be invested for 12 years, okay, for you to get to $1,000 in 12 years, you can have a smaller amount invested. If it's going to be invested for 8 years and you want to have $1,000, then you're going to have a larger amount than you would have to start with under 10 years. Okay? So the beginning amount must be larger in order to reach the targeted ending amount. What happens to the beginning amount if you have a longer investment time frame, I already said that, and a targeted ending amount. So if your target amount is 1,000 and instead of 10 years you're going to 12 years, you can start with a smaller amount because you'll earn more interest over that period of time. You can start with a smaller amount. So these relationships are very, very important for you to understand. So that's Chapter 5, homeworks 1 and 2 on video. Peace out. Shalom.